The Chicago Bears starting quarterback Mitch Trubisky is injured, but the question now becomes how long will he be out? What is going on, y'all? 5 Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL. And as mentioned, talking Bears, talking Mitch. But again, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe. I talk a lot of NFL on this channel, especially Bears. So you're going to want to go ahead and stay tuned and subscribe. So go ahead and do so, guys. It helps me out a lot. And when you support the channel, so go ahead and do so. Click the bell icon to be notified every time I drop a new video, because I do so every week and sometimes every day. A ton of content on the channel. And finally, follow me on my social media links down below and on the screen as well for my Twitter, my Instagram. You guys can reach out to me, talk, debate, whatever it is. So we're talking Mitch. We're talking the injury. We all know he got hurt in that game against the Minnesota Vikings. What's the injury, the details around it, how long will he be out, and how the Bears going to fare without Mitch Trubisky. I'm going to get into all of that right now. So, the injury itself. We all know the Bears quarterback Mitch Trubisky got hurt very early on in that game against the Vikings. It was one of the first plays of the game, and when he got hurt, it was off of a pretty boneheaded decision that I didn't like, and I came on my Bears recap, another reason again to follow the channel, because I do post daily recaps or after every single Bears game. I said, what was Mitch thinking at that time? Because he kind of, took off from the pocket, does kind of a 180, and by the time he, reasserts himself and kind of looks up, the defender's right in his face, and he lands right on him, and the whole body weight is there, and now Mitch's arm is kind of compromised, or I should say his shoulder, and that's essentially when the injury occurred. It was when he landed on his non-throwing shoulder, and that is when the dislocation obviously occurred and the slightly torn labrum. Now, again, I thought that was a pretty boneheaded play by Mitch. He's got to have better awareness than that. You got to fight to live for another down. Just throw that ball away, Mitch. You can't do that. With that being said, obviously can't change that. What has already happened. As far as the injury now and the timeline, like I've mentioned, shoulder dislocation, it's not season ending. Actually, it's going to be a pretty quick turnaround, and I wanted the full details to come out before I came on here and told you guys this. But again, when the injury happened, I kind of suspected this by, checking what people were saying on Twitter and what the reports were that were coming out. So the shoulder dislocation was pretty easy to tell, and then the torn labrum as well. But obviously you hope that it was not as torn, and it wasn't. It's a slightly torn labrum, so that's a good thing. So this means because it was his non-throwing shoulder, the Bears will be good because Mitch will return, and he'll probably return very soon. How soon? I'll get to that in a second. Non-throwing shoulder, we're talking about he could still get surgery, but I don't believe he will. They can avoid surgery until the offseason, which is what I believe the Bears will do here. And they will basically have Mitch kind of rehab with, whatever he needs to heal for this injury. Now, if it was his throwing shoulder, I believe this was probably season ending because he would have had to get surgery on it, okay? So non-throwing shoulder, no surgery. You can put it off till the offseason, and Mitch should be fine in a couple of weeks. So let's talk about that timeline, okay? Because the Bears actually didn't really release like an actual timeline. Matt Nagy didn't say when Mitch is going to be back. All he said is it's not season ending. We know that. But from everything I've read in the reports, technically Mitch Trubisky could be back next week because he's listed as doubtful. They haven't even ruled him out for next week. But, folks, I believe 99.9% that he will not play next week, which is, of course, in London against the Oakland Raiders. Why? Because we don't need him to, quite frankly, because Chase Daniel put up a beautiful performance, a fantastic performance as the backup quarterback, and we're playing an Oakland team which I feel like has improved, but we are still the superior team, so we should be able to take care of business. And what does that mean? That means you let Mitch rest up against Oakland, Chase gets another start, and then week 6 is our bye week, folks, okay? If week 6 wasn't our bye week, Mitch could probably come back ASAP. But because we get that bye week, we give Mitch against Oakland and that bye week to heal up. And then week 7, the toughest part of our schedule comes up. So I've got it all right here for you guys. So week 5 against Oakland and London, let Mitch rest there. bye week 6, let him rest. And then when he comes back, week 7, which is what I believe, you play the Saints and the Chargers. Now, albeit the Saints will be probably without Drew Brees, but we've seen them beat 2 teams now without Drew Brees. They are going to be no joke. We cannot take them lightly. And then the Chargers, of course, are a very good team as well. So we're going to need Mitchell Trubisky. And a lot of Bears fans were in my mentions talking about we don't need Mitch anymore because Chase played well. But I will address that in just a second. Don't you worry. But that is what I see for the timeline here for Mitch Trubisky. Week 7 against the Saints is when I believe he'll be back. So overall, this was the best case scenario for the Bears and for Mitch because, again, there's been a lot of quarterbacks we've seen this season that have gotten hurt, that are either out for extended periods of times or they're out for the entire season. Case in point, Big Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees, and you see how important it is, obviously, to have your starting quarterback. Now, okay, I've addressed when I believe Mitch is going to come back. We'll be back in 2 weeks, is my best guess. Chase Daniel, our backup quarterback. I came on the recap show and I said, Chase played a phenomenal game. I gave him all the props in the world. But then I also said, Chase Daniel cannot be your starting quarterback for the rest of the season. Why? Because he's a backup. Bears fans, I need you to hear me out because, again, there's a lot of Mitch critics out there. And I'm not a Mitch supporter per se, that I'm blind to the fact that I think Mitch is, a top 5-10 quarterback. No, I don't think that at all. But do I think Mitchell Trubisky is enough for what the Bears have? Yes, okay? And is he an upgrade over Chase Daniel? Yes. Chase Daniel did look good in the offense, and he ran it better than Mitch has ran it the past couple of weeks, okay? Besides the Washington game, he looked more comfortable. It looked like Matt Nagy kind of opened up the playbook. But we all know Chase Daniel, we've seen this story before. He's a career backup, and last year he also got us a win. People don't realize that. We won a game with Chase, and then we ended up losing a game with him too because the defenses figured him out. Once you get tape again on Chase Daniel, the defenses will figure it out. Okay, so to me, Chase Daniel is not better than Mitchell Trubisky. There is no quarterback controversy. I don't want to hear it. When Mitch returns, he will be our starter. Chase did what any good backup quarterback is supposed to do. Come in and do your job and help your team win. So that is essentially what I have to say. I know a lot of Bears fans are going to overreact and say Chase looked good, and he might look good again against Oakland, but Mitch, when he returns, is our starting quarterback. That's it. So there you have it, folks. My thoughts on Mitchell Trubisky, when he'll be back. I believe 2 weeks, week 7 against the New Orleans Saints at home is when I believe Mitch will be back. And I believe the Bears avoided catastrophe here with a season-ending injury. And yes, Mitch Trubisky is still better than Chase Daniel. There you have it. So let me know if you guys agree or disagree. Leave a comment down below. As always, thanks for watching.